Okay, calling the meeting to order. It should be. It might not. Okay, calling the meeting to order. So stay it closer to the mic. Roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Rex.
Here.
Soon to be Commissioner Hoff, because don't we have to read?
No, she did her oath the last.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well then, Commissioner Hoff.
Here.
Commissioner Richardson.
Here.
And Commissioner Ferguson. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to old business. Nothing there, right? Okay. Jumping right into new business. Modification of... Actually, that makes me wonder, are we not doing business of the month? We still have to discuss that. Would that not be an old business? Oh, business recognition program. Okay, well, I guess that's my lead-in to modification of business recognition program.
Yes, so we are talking about changing our Business of the Month program. So this is a program that is this commission's program. So I really, I'm coming to you with a framework, but the goal of this is to really get direction from this commission on how to make this program special and unique to Eureka. So this commission has the business of the month and the business of the year, and then the Art and Culture Commission has the artist of the month and the artist of the year. The Art and Culture Commission redid their program. They're now doing an artist spotlight program. And so we want to talk through how to update this program to be better, and I'll get into the details of that. So some background, this is something that we started in 2017. 65 businesses of the month have been recognized. We started like mid-year 2017. And then we've had 6 businesses of the year. The feedback we've had from businesses is being a business of the month isn't that special. It's kind of like, oh, gee, thanks. And to be honest, it falls on the bottom of the priority list of staff. It's like something that we have to get done, but it's not, I don't feel like we're giving it the energy and attention to help make it special. And so the idea is to kind of revisit this program and think if there's a better way of recognizing our businesses without the busy work of the businesses of the month. That doesn't seem to be like a worthwhile thing that we're doing. So I created this framework. I feel like it's pretty generic, and it's just like a starting place for us to talk through how we want this to be. But there's no attachment to this. And if you guys have ideas for how to do this differently, this is the time. We don't have to adopt this program that's pitched tonight. This is just kind of a starting point for us to talk through it. So one suggestion was to change the name to the City of Eureka's Local Excellence in Business Awards, and then to break them down into different categories. Some draft objectives. So one, to recognize excellence, celebrate businesses excelling in innovation, sustainability, community engagement, and economic impact. Promoting economic growth, encourage entrepreneurship and investment by showcasing success stories. Foster community spirit, strengthen connections between businesses, residents, and local government. And inspire best practices, highlight exemplary business operations to serve as models for others. And then some draft award categories. I feel like this is where it feels generic in like rereading this. So like one, business of the year, honor a business demonstrating exceptional performance across all aspects of the operation, which would align, keeping that award would align with our past program. We have been having businesses of the year, so I feel like that would be consistent with what we've been doing. And then some new award categories. One idea was an innovation award, recognizing groundbreaking contributions, products, services, or processes. Bless you. A sustainability leader celebrates efforts to implement environmentally friendly practices, like Los Bagels comes to mind, and their zero waste practices. They're really proactive in being zero waste. Community Impact Award highlights businesses making significant contributions to local development and charitable efforts. And then a Rising Star Award, so showcasing a new business that's less than 2 years old with promising potential and early achievements. Do you want me to go through the whole thing and then we can go back and talk through the sections, or do you want to talk about them as we go?
I'd be good to go through the whole thing.
Okay.
What do you guys think? You care? Okay.
Just in general, I wanted to know if we thought, or you thought, this was something we could implement this year.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Eligibility criteria. To qualify, businesses must operate within the greater Eureka area. That's something that we've been a little... I feel like the first couple years of the program, we really stayed within city limits. But then the past 2 years, we've kind of gone for the greater Eureka area, which I feel is fine. I have been active for at least 1 year, except for the Rising Star Award nominee, and show a positive track record of community engagement. For the nomination and selection process, so far, the way we've been doing it is we do have a nomination form. Occasionally, we receive nominations from the public. It's just kind of an ongoing form that's on our website. And then we have a list of businesses that have been listed as nominees that you guys pick from every month. This would instead be a call for nominations from the community. We would put out a public nomination form and do the call for nominations. And then, so it'd be the public that would be nominating the businesses or nominating themselves. And then for judging criteria, I came up with some judging criteria, but again, I'd like direction from the commission on like how you want to judge these businesses. And then the judging panel, so the business of the year would be selected by the mayor, but I think the rest should be selected by this commission. So for the judging criteria, economic impact, contributions to employment and tax revenue, innovation, introduction of unique ideas or practices, sustainability, commitment to environmental responsibility, community engagement, support for local causes and events, and employee relations, dedication to staff welfare and development. So I think we should talk through this section as well and like customize it a little bit more to what the commission would like. For recognition, we would do an awards ceremony at a spring council meeting. The fantasy is that Eureka will have town hall meetings every year, and that this could be part of that, where we would do these awards as part of that. But I think that's a few years out, and dependent on leadership wanting that. So right now, they receive a plaque. We do a custom designed plaque, and then we do a press release and social media and in the city's newsletter. And then we also have put together short promotional videos every year for the businesses of the year that we share out on YouTube and on our social media. So the proposed timeline would be that we would be planning this now. We would do the nominations during the third quarter. We would do the judging from this commission in our fourth quarter meeting. And then we would do the awards in the first quarter of next year and each year. And I have suggested motion language if you want to accept it as it is. And we can talk through the different sections of it. So I'm at the commission's will.
Have businesses expressed that something like this would be of more interest, or is this more on your judgment?
I would say the business of the year is always really excited, and it feels really unique and special. I think the businesses of the month it just doesn't feel that special for them. We could narrow it down to just having the business of the year and not do all the other award categories, but it does seem like just choosing one is pretty limited. So I don't know if we want to choose a couple.
I'm not sure if this is on, is it? From what I saw when I first came here, I saw some businesses were nominated just by, I just happened to drop by there for the first time. And when I nominated one, it was a person I had met in her business, and I asked how long she'd been there. It just didn't seem like some of the businesses even knew they were being nominated. You know what I'm saying? So I think if we could do a little more, a deeper dive perhaps into the people that we are nominating and let them know that we're interested. I don't know if that would help or not.
I agree. I think the way that it was before was just like the standing nomination list, and it got a little stagnant. It was like a really long list where people were just on it. I think having like an annual process that's more public reminds me of the North Coast Journal awards, where people like compete every year and it's more special, or like how the chamber does it every year, where they put out like a call for nominations in the different categories.
I like, as a business owner, I like the idea of changing it. I agree with you wholeheartedly that it's not as special having the monthly, and having the different categories I think is great. Yeah, I think that's a good change for sure. What about, I know it's considered part of the city, but like, what about having like a little, besides just announcing it and handing flowers, maybe having a little mixer or something like that for the business of the year, I don't know. And it could be at that person's business, or, to kind of bring more attention to the business. Now you could do that for all the categories, honestly. Are you thinking of having if you have these different categories, they're all announced at the same time, or are they announced at different times throughout the year?
The idea was to do one announcement, do like one big event where they were announced. Mm-hmm. I'm also looking for feedback on like, are these the categories that we want? Business of the year makes sense to me. Is there anything like specific to Eureka, a specific Eureka award?
I haven't really looked at the categories in depth, but just at a glance there, I have a hard time imagining what, say, the second one, you know what I mean? Sort of give an example of what you mean by contributions to products, services, or processes. I think I just am not sure I understand which business that would be, just for an example.
I could, like, for me, I would think that one was like, but they're not in the city of Eureka or in the greater Eureka. It would be like the Foggy Bottom Boys, taking local dairy products and milk and creating an ice cream shop, or Patches Pastries there's these other businesses that are trying to become more innovative to see how they can cross lines between just a regular retail store, but also maybe services. So, but yeah, I'm not sure in
Thank
Eureka.
you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think in my mind, so I could at least give a framework in my mind of each one, what people thought maybe an example would be.
And then the Community Impact Award I feel like that goes in line with what you were just saying, Swan, about, somebody who has make a difference in Eureka or has pride for Eureka. To me, that would be that one, kind of goes in line with that. Somebody who's really pro Eureka and doing all they can to contribute to the community, as opposed to knocking it down, which we have enough of. So.
How difficult is it to put out a request for suggestions?
You mean for the nominations?
Yes.
I don't think that'll be difficult. I think we'll do a press release and hopefully work with Lost Coast Outpost to really promote it and get people to self-nominate and for the community to nominate.
Yeah, so I do like all of the categories. I also struggle with the innovation award. I don't nobody's like sticks out in my mind that I would nominate, and that's what I would want from each of the categories. I guess I definitely like the community impact award. I'm curious if a business were to win business of the year, could they win in another category? Like, is that like business of the year is like the big umbrella one, and then if maybe somebody could win both of them? I feel like I don't know. I'm curious about that.
I think that'd be up to this commission.
And then on the like nomination form, would they have to give their argument as to why they're putting why they are being nominated in that category? So we would have information.
Yeah, I
What's
think
that?
the nomination form would include like kind of a pitch, like why do you think that you're worthy for this, or why do you think this business is worthy for this?
Yeah.
There are some like really iconic Eureka businesses. It's like Partrix comes to mind. Fresh Freeze, like really classic Eureka businesses that I don't know if we want to have like an iconic Eureka business award for some of like the businesses that have really weathered a long time here.
I think people would really like that.
Yeah, I think that might be more. Yeah, I think that'd get more attention than something like. I mean, I think sustainability is huge, but how do you determine that? Like, how do you determine that?
I think that'd be hard for the panel for you guys to
because I don't know
judge that
who
on.
recycles or who is
Yeah.
sustainable or green, or I have no idea really.
So maybe getting rid of the innovation and sustainability awards and instead doing like what would you want to call the iconic Eureka award? I don't think that's the right name, but
Although you did say they had to sort of pitch what their sustainability would be. So that would maybe be interesting for the first year to have
okay.
enough that they could choose from. Yeah, just a thought.
Yeah, I like keeping the sustainability one. I do think that's important in this day and age to highlight. And maybe, like I hear your point about maybe finding it difficult sometimes to determine like who should win. So maybe prior to making our selection, the commissioners can go out and talk with the businesses that have been recommended and learn more about them, and have it be kind of an active process. And maybe that'll also be a positive experience for the businesses as well. I do like the suggestion of the iconic businesses. I'd wonder how long we could go with that if there's like a set list of businesses that we all think of that identify Eureka, if that's just gonna run out one day. But I mean, it's not gonna run out for a while, so I do like the idea. I think that's a nice addition.
Maybe we should put parameters around it, like they have to be in business in the area for X amount of years or something, 5 or more, 10 or more, or whatever that number is. 15, 20. I don't know. What's iconic?
I like your point too, Jade. I think it'd be nice if the business of the year couldn't win a second one to spread the appreciation and recognition. But that's just my
I
thought.
agree.
I was thinking that you take the second, third, fourth, fifth, and maybe iconic be the sixth, and then choose the business of the year from those top ones. That's just a thought too. I was just assuming we just pick 3 or so from each category, the top three, but these are just
I
guesses.
think we'd just pick one from each one. So you
I
just
mean, three for us to choose, or will we choose? We choose in the end, or
So I think my vision of it was people would nominate on the form, and then they would pick what categories they're applying for. And then the mayor would choose from the business of the year category, and then this commission would choose the winners from the rest. But they could apply for multiple categories.
Yeah, I guess from thinking about it that way, it might be easier to, if the commission chose the top 5 based on these 5 categories, the innovation, sustainability, community impact, rising star, and icon, and then the mayor chose from those 5 to get a double award. I don't know, because it seems like if the mayor, like if we're choosing at separate times, there's a chance that somebody could be winning in multiple categories anyways. I don't know.
So far, the commission has chosen the businesses of the month, and then the mayor has chosen the business of the year. So I guess in my head it was similar, where you guys would choose the 2nd through 5th award, and then after those were chosen, she would choose the business of the year. They would choose the business of the year.
From
Not-
the ones that we selected, or just from the full
Just
list?
from the whole list.
Okay.
I like that idea better because I also think like business of the year can be, like it says, like exceptional performance across all aspects. So I think it would be nice to have it be a separate thing. And then we can try to avoid duplication by like choosing the previous awards before the mayor, or you could just help us with coordination, right? Make sure if we don't want there to be a duplicate. And it sounds like we're deciding the process, but that we would look at the full list of nominations and decide ourselves. I'm not sure if staff were looking at refining it down to 3 for us to choose from. Although if you're suggesting that could be an option.
in each category, 3. Or, I'm not sure where I picked up. I was just thinking of I was thinking of the North Coast Journal and how they did it, but like I said, this is just too fresh for me to really think it all the way through right now on the logistics of it. But I'm excited in the direction it's going.
I don't think
happen.
Staff would want to narrow down the list. We'd want to bring you the full list and then have the commission choose from the full list.
So is the most challenging thing right now making up that nomination sheet, do you think? Or is that something we would do?
Staff would do that. I think the most challenging thing is creating the structure of the program that is exciting for Eureka. I want this to be worthwhile and unique and special. And I want the commission to feel like it's worthwhile and the people winning the awards to feel like it's worthwhile.
I like it, but I really would like a few days to think about the actual the logistics of it.
So I can bring this back to the commission. We could just kind of talk through all of this, and then we can refine it and kind of package it and bring it back to be adopted.
When did you say you wanted to open nominations? Like, would it be helpful to move forward with accepting nominations with the categories we've discussed and then further refine and finalize the process our next meeting, but that way we can at least start collecting nominations? Or were you not thinking of getting
I was thinking nominations in the third quarter. So if we adopted the plan at our next meeting in July, we would be on track.
Okay. Would you like to push it to suggest that we push this to the next meeting? Oh, I think you can. Does she need to make a like official recommendation or what?
Could we have a little bit more discussion first for some guidance on different sections? Like, if you guys have names for the program, like the Art and Culture Commission chose Artist Spotlight program.
Sorry, I didn't mean to rush you out of that. I
No.
didn't realize.
No. This was just something I chose that I thought explained what we were doing, but if there's a different name that the commission would prefer, or you guys can think about it and I can bring that back in July as well, some different name options.
I think that's great.
Great.
Personally, I mean, I don't want to overthink this, so.
Okay. Okay. Can we also talk about judging criteria? So before we put this out, I guess it's also going to depend on the different awards, how you're going to judge it. But like when we're doing the nomination form, we can ask for their background or their, the word evidence is coming to mind, but that's not the right word. Like why they think they should be chosen for this. Is there any judging criteria that you want to have in mind when you're choosing for those different categories that we want to include in our promotion of how this is going to be chosen? Is there anything like really important to the commission as far as how you're going to make these decisions?
I think just saying like what makes you sustainable, what makes you, not so much prove it to me, tell us why you think that you should be nominated for the sustainability award or why you should win or whatever. Right. And I was just quickly looking up another word for iconic, and one of them that came up was legendary. It's kind of sounds pretty legendary, but it's kind of cool.
Do you have any forms from past situations like this where people would be putting in for information to be acknowledged that would give us a little bit of a framework of what you've done in the past, do you think? It's just so new in my brain. I can't wrap my head around it right now.
I understand. We have currently on our website, we have nomination forms for Business of the Month and Artist of the Month. And I think we would model it after that, but be more specific to the specific awards. And then look for explanation for that specific award. There are also examples of this all over the place. This is something a lot of cities have. So I think we could also look at what other cities do and kind of mirror our nomination form off some others that look like they're doing a good job. And then each year we can refine this as we learn how to make this go better.
I think the phrasing on this slide confuses me a little bit because I would think that each award would be judged on that specific category of accomplishment, but the judging criteria says each nomination will be evaluated based on those. I'm not clear. Is that saying that each of them would be judged on all of those? Because that's not, I guess I would think that it'd be more specific for each one.
That's good feedback. I agree. In hindsight, you're correct.
I'm also not sure which one. At first, I thought that each of those bullets corresponded to one of the award categories, but the economic impact doesn't seem to, or the employee relations. So I'm not sure where those would come into play, except for maybe business of the year or community impact. But those are pretty specific. Not that those aren't valuable, but I guess I would imagine each of these, we would be focusing on these very specific things for each business.
So I don't think we necessarily need to vote on this. I think you guys have given me direction, and I could bring it back at the July meeting, like with these edits and kind of a more packaged final version, and then you could adopt that if you're happy with it.
While we're brainstorming, that makes sense to me. While
Okay.
we're brainstorming on the process, what do you guys think about like? I'm really into the idea of us being really actively engaged with the community, more so. So what if we like chose our top 3 or whatever for each category from the nomination submissions, just the forms themselves, depending on how many we get. I don't know. I would hope that we would get a lot, but you never know, especially for the first year of a program. But anyway, choose our top 3 or such, and then from there, maybe help refine our decisions by going to talk to each of the businesses or something like that. I just would really love for us to talk to the businesses or meet with them or invite them to come to a meeting or something like that.
Like we could divvy them up because there's 5 commissioners and 5 categories, and we could choose the top 3. Sorry.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, since there are 5 commissioners and 5 categories, we could choose the top 3 for each category and then divvy them up amongst ourselves and go talk with them.
That's a good observation. I didn't notice that. Did you have anything else you wanted to go through, Swan, with regard to this program?
Not for this. I feel like that was the direction I was looking for this. And we can bring it back in a more like refined, finalized version for you at our next meeting to be adopted, and then we can go for it.
That sounds good to me. I personally am not good at thinking of names. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I think that name is straightforward, but yeah, I don't know. If we are finished discussing that, then shall we continue on our new business to the modification to the CPTED Facade Improvement Rebate Program? Did I need to open that to the public? I always forget.
It's only if you're voting on it.
Okay, since we are not continuing on.
Okay, so our division has a number of programs, and one of our most popular programs is our CPTED Facade Improvement Program, and it's basically a rebate program. So CPTED stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design, and there's a bunch of different guiding principles, like how you have lighting, how you kind of claim the difference between private and public space, how you do landscaping. And it's basically like there's different changes you can make to the environment that will prevent crime from happening to begin with. So we started this program where we would reimburse businesses $2,500 of any security improvements they make after they go through this program. To incentivize not just security improvements, we also wanted beautification improvements. There's a second part to this program, which is the facade improvement part, where we will reimburse you 25% of what you spend up to $10,000. So another $2,500. So if you spend $10,000 on like exterior beautifications, we will reimburse you 25% up to the $2,500. So every site is can stack those 2 grants for $5,000. Since we've been doing this program, we started in 2019. We've given out 90,000, it's like 88,000 in grants so far, to 26 different locations. There's
you say that was?
Almost 90,000, so like 88,000 so far. And since 2019, we do this twice a month. We go on these visits, and I'll talk about that, the process a little bit, but we do those twice a month, 2 at a time. So we've visited a lot of businesses over the years. I feel like the reason why this program is so successful is the businesses feel really heard when we all show up. They feel like, usually if they reach out to us, it's because they're dealing with an issue. And so when our CPTED team shows up, they're usually surprised that we're all there to hear them. And by the end, they just feel like they've really been heard on what they're dealing with, and they've been offered a lot of solutions, and they know that we are there to help and that they aren't dealing with it alone. And so that's been really positive. However, we have had to put this program on hold because we've run through our funding. And so while we are on hold until the new fiscal year, it seemed like a good opportunity to make some changes to the program to resolve some of the ongoing issues with it. I said more than I meant to in this opening slide, but we're going to get through some more details. So we have a specific process. The very first step for this program is a site visit. So for the site visit, we have staff from code enforcement, Eureka Police Department, the building department, the planning department, and economic development. And we all show up together. There's about 8 of us that come. If there's issues with dumpsters, then Recology also joins us. We meet on the outside of the business, and we meet with the property owner or the business owner, and we just talk through what kind of issues they're dealing with and then make suggestions. So like maybe they have people sleeping in their alcove, maybe they have issues with dumping in a certain location, and the whole point is it's not a gotcha program. It's not like the building department is there and is like, oh, you're out of code here, and like we're going to follow up on this. The whole point is to just like brainstorm solutions, and having us all there means that you're able to talk through what the process is for the applicant. Like doing this light fixture means that you need to go to this commission for review, and then you need to get a building permit, and the building department's there and can talk through that process. After we do the site visit, the applicant then makes a plan for what they want to do. They reach out and we say, yeah, that sounds great. They make the improvements, and then we reimburse them for the improvements. So the changes that we're interested in making, the first one is doing a cap on how much we can reimburse per site. And the reason we want to do this is we did have one site that applied for, I can't remember the number, but it was like 17 grants. They had different tenants, and it really wiped out our program budget. And we're grateful for the improvements that they're making, but it really demonstrated to us that we're not able to serve as many sites when these grants are stacked. And so the first change we'd like to make to the program is to have a max of $5,000 per site that they're eligible for, and it would be first come, first serve. Sometimes you have different tenants on different sites that want to apply. We have had tenants stack grants, so like one location, multiple tenants applied and then put in a shared fence to gate off their entrance. But you do have these exceptions where you have sites with a large number of units, and it can wipe out our program budget. The second change we'd like to pitch is some of the changes that we recommend are consistent. It's like every single one we go to, we're recommending the same cameras, we're recommending the same light fixtures, we're recommending the same gates. And consistently, you have buildings that are on the historic register, and applicants get really hesitant when it means going to the Historic Preservation Commission. And so we want to go to the Historic Preservation Commission and suggest that some of these frequently recommended solutions are pre-approved by the commission and can just be implemented without the tenants or property owners having to come to the commission. I don't know how the commission will receive that, but we would like to at least try. And then our third change that we'd like to make is currently for the program, it waives design review fees and building permit fees. Our thought with that was we didn't want our grant funds to go towards paying our own fees. But what's happened is some folks have found this as a loophole and are applying for the program to avoid those fees, more than because they need those improvements. And also, we're kind of cannibalizing ourselves because staff is still having to go through the review process of those programs. And the way we calculate those fees is by calculating the staff time spent on them. So it's not, any of those fees aren't to make a profit for the city. It's all how much it costs the city to do those projects. So like a building permit fee or a design review fee. So we would like to include the design review fees and the building permit fees back into the process instead of waiving them. So those are the three changes that we'd like to recommend. Our plan is to take this to historic preservation and then take it to city council, and then update our marketing materials and then relaunch the program in July with new funding with the fiscal year. So I'm happy for feedback from the commission. I know some of you, one of you has gone through this process. And that's my presentation.
So I have a question about the decision making for the applications. Has just anyone who has applied received the grant if it, obviously like follows the requirements?
Pretty much. I can't think of a single grant that I've denied. However, I really do try to hold their hand through it ahead of time so that they're only making improvements that we know can be approved.
So are you expecting for the next fiscal year to receive only like an equal number of requests as there is funding, or is there more need than there is funding?
I think there's going to be more need than there is funding. Just while the program is on hold, we do have a waiting list, and I think the new funding will only be about $25,000. So that could go really quick.
So with that said, sorry, a chain of questions here. I'm looking at the Exhibit B design criteria, so but I am not sure if I'm missing this here. Is there like a prioritization process for spreading the funding around the city, or perhaps to areas in the city? No. Is that something that we could discuss?
Sure. It's just been first come, first serve. At first, we started with it being focused on the corridor, and then we decided to expand it citywide. It became really popular during COVID when there was less foot traffic and there was more issues with security and people wanting to protect their property with gates and lighting and things like that.
I'd be interested to see a map of where the projects are that have utilized this, and see if there's any places that perhaps haven't taken advantage of this resource yet and maybe prioritize that, or have a discussion among the commission if there's areas where we believe maybe there's more crime happening. I guess you could assume that that's like Old Town or where there's more people, but maybe just a conversation about where there might be more need and talk about establishing prioritization, given that there's probably going to be more applications than funding.
I will say there is an Old Town Merchant chat group where this has been shared. And so we get a lot of our referrals from that chat group, from people going through the program and liking it. And then when their neighbors have issues, they recommend it. We also get a lot of referrals from the police department and city council. So if somebody reaches out to a council member about an issue that they're dealing with, this is a tool for council to offer. And then the police department is really good as far as like referring people when they know it'll be a good fit.
I think all of the proposed changes make sense. I would be interested in I'm wondering if you think there'd be any value in allowing for an exception with like approval from the mayor or something for the $5,000 per parcel rebate cap in case there's like one very special case where it could make a big impact or something like that. But overall, I would agree with all three of these.
Do I understand this correctly, that the $5,000 cap in a $25,000 budget that's it? So that's five. Wow, that seems tough. Ooh.
I will say people don't always use the whole grant. It's like usually someone will put in a camera system and then submit it for $900, or someone will put in lighting, and it seems like if anything, it's the real value of the program is the conversation and the site visits and hearing solutions. And it can often be really simple things as far as landscaping changes, like trimming up bushes so you can see underneath them, or trimming them down so it's like people can't hide behind them, putting in light fixtures, putting in a camera that you can get at Costco for a couple $100. It's just, there's some really common sense solutions.
That's
I
great
think,
to hear. Thank you.
yeah, I think people are hesitant to make those decisions, but then when they hear from, Chief Stevens this recommendation, it goes a long way, and they're happy with it.
Any other thoughts? Does everyone agree with the proposed changes, or do we want to talk about it more?
I'm on board with the changes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that the changes make sense.
I forgot to give you suggested motion language, but it'd be basically to approve the suggested program modifications.
Does someone want to make a motion and also? Oh, thank you. That's always the part that I forget. So, one last thing I wanted to ask of the commissioners, how do you feel about bringing this back at the next meeting, not to add to this, like approving this if we all approve it, but then further discussing a possibility of priorities at the next meeting? How do we feel about that?
On this,
Establishing priorities on the, for the CPTED funding, like for areas, potentially for areas in the city.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I should say this, but I just hit the wall. I don't know. I lost my
Oh,
all
no.
my energy. I'm sorry.
Well, I
I'm
think
sorry
I
you're not
wanna
feeling
end-
well.
I gotta
when you say you mentioned priorities, but isn't that something that the city determines, like based on the need, and it's not really up to us, is it?
We've just been doing it first come first serve.
Okay.
And Madeline, we're in the home stretch, so you just hang out. Yeah, no, you're fine. we're yeah. So far we've just done it first come first serve. But I'm open to prioritizing different parts of town, so it's up to the commission. I do think our waiting list exceeds our available funding as it is. So just putting that out there.
I think what I was imagining was recommending a procedure for staff, not necessarily involving us in the decision making, if that helps for clarity.
Okay. Yes.
Are you guys open to talking about that next time?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, I guess opening to the floor to the public, and nobody is here, so closing it back up and returning for a vote, and for a motion and for a vote. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to change it. Is that what it's to make the changes to the existing program.
Great. Does anyone want a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. So, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. I see Sarah West perched with something to say, and she's our Brown Act person.
Oh, I think if you wanted to bring back something at the next meeting, you probably should include it in that motion.
Gotcha. Because we would be potentially voting on it.
Just as, I think, well, are you, just for clarity in the motion's sake, like you're directing the changes proposed today to be made immediately, and then you're directing it to come back again at the next meeting for consideration for prioritization of areas?
Okay.
Is that, if that's the intention of the direction?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and repeat that motion then. So I'm making a motion to pass the modifications to the CPTED facade improvement rebate program as suggested by staff, and also bringing it back to the next meeting for discussion of prioritization. Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. One more try. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to reports and communications. You said this is going to be quick. Do we want to allow the commissioner to step out if she's not feeling well?
Yeah.
We need her for reports too. Okay.
We'll be quick.
Let's keep going.
We'll be quick. So the Waterfront Eureka plan came before the commission previously, and I just wanted to let you know that a revised draft of that is up on the city's website, and there's a special planning commission meeting scheduled for that, I think, on Monday. And so if you want to see the latest version, that's where you can find it. And then we are partnering with Eureka Main Street and the Chamber on a Humboldt Economic Business Survey. It's out right now. It's on all of our websites. It's being promoted on social media. A lot of businesses are on the verge of closing and are facing a really uncertain future. And so we want to make sure that any response that we have is timely and meaningful into what they actually need. And so we have the survey out to kind of find out how businesses are doing and to get feedback on what they need. That closes April 23rd. We're promoting it countywide because this isn't just a Eureka thing. This is a everybody thing. And we'll be sharing that results with you guys. And we'll be sharing it with city council as well, and then talking about, you know, what Eureka can do that's helpful, what's appropriate for the city of Eureka. And that's the scoop. That's all I have right now. We have a cruise ship on April 27th. We have 500 Germans coming with 200 crew. And so we will be hosting a dock party and shuttling them back and forth from the dock to Old Town. And they are coordinating all of their own excursions. And it should be a good day.
Exciting. Quick question on the Humboldt Economic Survey. Does it ask for ethnicity of the business owners or any demographic information?
It asks for information as far as number of employees. I don't think it asks for demographic as far as ethnicity.
Okay. I'd encourage the city to consider adding demographics in the future, because that can open up resources to those businesses if we're aware of their demographics, such as woman-owned, minority-owned businesses. There's resources available, especially if they're struggling. So if that could be considered in the future, that would be good. But I'm looking forward to seeing the results. Data is very helpful. Okay. Anything do you guys want to say to the reports and communications? Go ahead.
I have a question going back to the business recognition program. Can we go backwards to that, or did we close that out?
I mean, can you just ask a question?
Since it was just a report, you didn't have to open it or close it. It was just a report. So
great.
if you have a question, you're
I
welcome
do
to
have a question. I'm concerned about the timeline. I'm not sure how the structure of this committee works, but is there a way to be sort of doing a rough draft of award category suggestions or terminology between now and the next meeting that would help? I know you mentioned looking online for different forms that other cities have. So, but we do not interact out of this location. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd say the tentative timeline was to bring the draft to the commission tonight, bring a final version to the commission in July, do the nomination period after you guys adopted it in July, and then do the nomination period during the third quarter meeting, and then the fourth quarter you guys could make your decisions, and then during the first quarter of 2026 we'd actually do our first round of awards of this new version.
Well, because you sound so relaxed, I'll relax.
Great. So closing reports and communications. Moving on to oral communications. Does anyone from the commission have anything they'd like to share? I did want to mention, I was hoping we would at this meeting, but I don't want to make this meeting longer than it has to be. So maybe next meeting we can discuss the medical industry and circle back on the results of the panel that Natalie Arroyo held. I don't know if you all had a chance to watch that. If you haven't yet, they do have Access Humboldt has the recording available on YouTube. You can just Google it. The audio is a little iffy sometimes, but they have subtitles, which is nice. Anyway, I would love to discuss that. That has been a priority to the commission, and it was on our strategic plan. So if that'd be good. Okay. Finishing oral communications, then I will officially adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.